might ask, why wasn't it done 20 years ago or 15 years ago? It hasn't been done. So this is a very innovative and serious effort to deal with that problem of content moderation. And because Facebook and Instagram are bound, you can expect accountability. The initial work of the board will be to develop internal protocols for deciding which cases it will address, the process of decision making, how it will articulate its decisions. All of these are very important process questions. And once these initial protocols are done, we will start receiving cases. And that might happen maybe later in September or October. And if all things go well, from that time on, the case adjudication part will begin. And that will be the major part of the board's work. Clearly, it won't be the greatest volume of cases, but we hope to be able to identify the key consequential cases and then address them well in a public manner, so transparently. We write reasons for decision in a way that explains how content policy should work and content moderation should work, but also in a manner that is, that is respectful of the people who approach the board. So you can expect transparency, you can expect an articulate rationality, and because Facebook and Instagram are bound, you can expect accountability to the system. And the way this is all structured is that the board is completely independent of the companies. So we engage only with each other. We don't engage with anyone from the company. We are not bound by any other commercial or other considerations the company might have. I think calling it the Supreme Court of anything is a bit much. I think what it is that it is a very bold and interesting experiment in content moderation and content policy for an internet media platform, which simply hasn't been done for 20 years. You might ask, why wasn't it done 20 years ago or 15 years ago? It hasn't been done. So this is a very innovative and serious effort to deal with that problem of content moderation. What ties us to these companies is that the companies have publicly and committed to being bound by the decisions. And you're right, I really appreciate the nuance that you picked out. On a case-by-case decision-making, they are bound. But on a policy recommendation, there might be some toing and froing between the board and the company. They are not bound. But the way we see it, and we've had some initial conversations all on the internet within the board, is that, see, we produce two things. We will produce case decisions, and we will produce annual reports. Now, these annual reports will be a collection of case decisions and will have pointers towards future directions. Now, my sense is that will also be a public document. And I suppose that the best commitment that we can get is that if we are pushing in this direction and making the company publicly accountable, the policy will also tend to reflect these concerns. One metric of success is that the company will follow the decisions we make. And if that would be one step, right? And we have very little doubt that that's going to happen. The next would be, look, all the other stakeholders in the internet media space will stand up and say, hey, here is a model Internet companies have always asked for self-regulation of some sort.
Sure.
And here is a model of independent self-regulation. It's not platform agnostic, so it has been set up by one company for its entities. But hopefully, if it's successful, since you asked me that question, what is the criterion of success? Say, making good decisions, but in the longer term, and for those of us who are interested in how the internet evolves, the success would be that there's widespread adoption of this model. That would be ultimate success for a model like this.